are now entering Armbar Audio.
Hello, and welcome to Episode 5 of Armbar Audio. I am your host, Tim Farley, and as always, next to me is my trusted companion,
John Kearns. What's going on, wrestling fans?
If you are a first-time listener, welcome. We appreciate you. If you're a usual customer, thank you. We appreciate you as well. We couldn't be here without you. Thank you for listening to us babble on about the world of pro wrestling. This week's news, we got a nice bit of it. The week started off Raw. Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H, aka Paul Levesque, Mr. NXT himself, took to the ring with all of the wrestlers or performers or superstars, whatever you want to call them, at the stage, and revealed that on October 28th, 2018, from the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York, the first ever all-women's pay-per-view named Evolution, not the stable, will be emanating. It has been said that every WWE females title will be on the line. That includes NXT's. And also the Mae Young Classic final will be taking place there as well. It has been announced that 50 women will be participating. This is big news, as the females have finally, the females in pro wrestling have finally broke the major glass ceiling in the biggest company there is. Following up on that, there were reports that Renee Young wants an all-female commentary team for the show.
I could absolutely see like Renee and Beth Phoenix doing that.
Yeah, former WWE superstar Danielle Monet, Summer Rae, mentioned Renee in a tweet on Tuesday, suggesting she call the action for October 28th event. And Renee said, "I would definitely be ready to step up." Renee has worked commentary before. She was color commentator on NXT from 2013 to 14 and also worked on Superstars alongside Tom Phillips. There was some talk of Young returning to the commentary booth after JBL's departure from the company. Young, however, was quick to point out she might not be the best replacement. So, John, what do you think about this news?
I am very excited for WWE Evolution. It is a major step in the right direction in women's wrestling. It is the perfect place to end the Mae Young Classic. All the women's titles being defended makes the show elevated that much more. And with the thought of an all-female commentary team, I think it could really be something special, and it could be an annual event. And I would like to see referee Jessica from NXT be a referee on this show.
There was recently announced another female referee in NXT. I forget her name, but yeah.
Well, they're the ones who need to be reffing this show.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that this is, like you said, a good step in the right direction for female wrestling, as it's been a niche product for a while with Shimmer and Shine,
and now Rise.
And Rise. It's been big in Japan as Joshi wrestling, and the Impact knockouts were big for a while, but this is the biggest platform that the women can have, which is awesome. If I were to pick a commentary team, it would be Renee Young, Alundra Blaze, and either Lita or Beth Phoenix as Lita did the Mae Young Classic last year, and Beth Phoenix was on commentary during the Mixed Match Challenge. But to be honest with you, those two girls might be in the ring. So
that's true.
It's a tough one to say if they did a 3-woman booth.
Well, they could probably, now that I'm thinking about it, they could use, like, Kathy Kelly. They could use,
yeah, Kathy.
Who's the other one in NXT?
Charlie Caruso.
Chuck, as Team Kevin and Chris called them.
Hilarious.
Called her. So, yeah. I'm excited for it. Looking forward to it. October 28th.
Yeah, so we were speculating last week a couple of things about the Mae Young Classic, like when it would air. So I'm guessing end of September, beginning of October.
Yeah.
With this announcement. And also, John was wondering if Toni Storm would be there. And it was announced she will be. She will be. So moving on from WWE Evolution, there's been a lot of talk about contracts and what company is interested in what particular wrestler. Dave Meltzer reported that the WWE is interested in hiring back Joe Robinson, a.k.a. Juice Robinson, a.k.a. CJ Parker from NXT. They're also, again, interested in Angelico as his Lucha Underground contract has been up, and he's been wrestling in the UK. New Japan is interested in signing back Shinsuke Nakamura, and there is a new big free agent on the market named Matt Riddle, the King of Bros. He won the Ultimate Fighter. He had a good UFC career, and he has been one of the fastest rising stars in the independent wrestling scene. I believe he's only wrestled for 3 years, and the Observer gave him Best Rookie of the Year, then the next year, Most Improved Wrestler of the Year. If you haven't seen him, you have to check him out. His home promotion is Evolve, who has a great working relationship with WWE. He's been all over the world, like Over the Top in Ireland, Progress in the UK. He's done a lot of PWG, and the whole free agency was speculated because he dropped out of Over the Top and PWG Bula this year, which is the same. Some of them are the same weekend as SummerSlam, so people were speculating if he would be showing up at Takeover Brooklyn. And in an interview he did on Xbox 12360, he never said what place he was going to go to, because it has been said that New Japan offered him a deal for just their American expansion, and then they offered a full-fledged contract. He never in the interview said where he was going, but as of this recording, what was it? It was What Culture?
No, well, yeah, it was on the Cultaholic YouTube channel. They came across a poster from a CZW event, which listed Matt Riddle, which is an appearance that he is obliging. And it says on the poster, come see Matt Riddle before he goes to WWE.
Now, I don't know if that is like proof
I don't
that
know
he's
if
going to
it's credible.
go. Right.
But if it is, it's a rookie mistake on CZW's part to spoil something like that.
I agree.
Yeah.
So let's get into these guys. Juice Robinson, Angelico, Nakamura, Matt Riddle. What do you want to happen with them? Where do you want them to go? Where do you see them
Well,
going?
I don't know much about Angelico, but as for Juice and Nakamura, I need them to stay where they are.
Agreed.
Honestly. I'm very surprised that NJPW is interested in Nakamura and not Styles.
Well, it's been said that Styles is very happy where he is. Whereas
Is Nakamura not?
Well, no one knows.
Huh.
I think they want big names to add to their roster as they expand.
They've got Kenny Omega.
But I agree with you. Juice Robinson should stay in New Japan because he's finding himself there. He's gaining a lot of respect. He's gaining a lot of fans. And honestly, what would WWE do? They would only sign him just so nobody else could have him. They wouldn't utilize him.
Right.
They wouldn't utilize him to his fullest potential.
Which is what now many are speculating they did with Nakamura.
Well, see...
I disagree with that.
I disagree as well. First of all, he's from Japan. He speaks broken English. I mean, very good broken English, but still broken English at that. But the WWE is not a pro wrestling company. It is sports entertainment. And as sports entertainment is concerned, they have made a star out of Shinsuke Nakamura.
Hell yeah.
In NXT, which is more pro wrestling themed, he wrestled very well. When he came to the main roster, they built his character. And then when they turned him heel, his heel run is amazing. Like, everything he says to Renee Young is fantastic. Getting off of Nakamura and onto Angelico, he would be a great fit for 205 Live. He's tall and lanky, but he fits the 205 Live build. Honestly, I wanted to see him back in Lucha Underground, and I didn't know why he wasn't back there. I didn't do my due diligence on research on that, but if he goes to WWE, that's great. And Matt Riddle, as far as Matt Riddle goes, I love Matt Riddle. I think he would do great in New Japan. There would be a lot of matchups that I'd want to see, but I don't think he necessarily has to go to New Japan. I think with Matt Riddle on the mic and in the ring, if he goes to WWE Performance Center and learns how to work with the camera angles and everything like that you don't usually get on the independent scene, it's only going to add to his repertoire. I don't think a guy like Triple H would have him tone down his style too much.
Right.
And I think he's ready to be a superstar. He needs to be a name in every wrestling fan's or sports entertainment fans' household. He has it all. He's great, and the sky's the limit for Matt Riddle. So I hope that whether he shows up at NXT Takeover or not, I hope he ends up in the WWE Performance Center.
All right.
So that's it for the news.
That is it for the news this week.
Well, I would be remiss to say Matt Riddle, the King of Bros, loves marijuana. So that would make me think he'd have to turn down the New Japan contract. And I don't know the current situation in WWE regarding it. I read about a pot tax because marijuana has become legal in a lot of states now, and it's less vilified and demonized as it was before.
Right.
But Matt Riddle has said that he would give it up if he were to sign a big contract in one of the big companies. And I think we all know what big company that is. So yeah, news is over now. We're going to talk about what is arguably, and I'm going to say it right now, so far this year, my favorite pay-per-view of the year, Slammiversary 16, that emanated from the Rebel Complex in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This, above all else, above Crossroads, above Redemption, this show felt like I was watching a new promotion. The look, the production, the matchups, the in-ring performance, the commentary even. Everything about this show was entertaining and all action all night long. Every match delivered on all cylinders. This match, this show got guys over. If you would have told me that I'd be excited for a Matt Sydal or Eddie Edwards or Tommy Dreamer or Moose match, I would have laughed in your face. But since Don Callis, Scott D'Amore, Abyss, Gail Kim, and Sanjay Dutt have taken over creative for Impact, they have pulled personality out of people you would think are personality-less. And it has just been a fantastic ride from February till now. And that's my intro on it. How do you feel, John?
So, Slammiversary 16, 2018 was maybe not my favorite pay-per-view of the year so far, but it was very, I'll say, impressive. And it was a good showing for Impact Wrestling. And I think that because of Don Callis, and because of Scott D'Amore, and Sanjay Dutt, and Abyss, and everyone that you named, we truly are witnessing firsthand the second rise of Impact Wrestling.
I agree.
That's happening. And you didn't even mention that Impact Wrestling had a sold-out show in 2018.
Yeah, it was sold out. You're right. I did miss that, but it was awesome.
It was sold out.
The crowd. The crowd was hot all night.
It selling out is a headline in and of itself, I feel.
Yeah.
It means that what they're doing is working. And they're on their way to becoming competition for WWE again. Where they fell so far, so fast, just a few years ago.
I think that as long as you worry about your own business, then it's more likely that you become competition. If you're worried about the competition, like Dixie was and Hogan and Bischoff, you fail.
Yeah, it went the same way as WCW because they cared too much about what WWE was doing.
Speaking of Impact, so let's get into the card and the match rundown. The first match that opened the show was the International Fatal 4-Way. Rich Swann was replaced by Petey Williams because Rich Swann suffered a concussion at the MLW Battle Riot taping. So it was Petey Williams against Bone Soldier, Taiji Ishimori from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Johnny Impact of everywhere that you could think of, and Phoenix. This match was just balls to the wall, high flying, fast paced, X Division type stuff. It was a great opening match, and Impact won. Yeah, Johnny Impact won, but it was just awesome from all four competitors, especially Petey Williams, who was called up at the last minute to replace Swan. What'd you think about that?
It was a perfect match to open the show, because, and that's another thing that Impact has been good about since the new management. They're really good at picking shows to open, or picking matches to open shows. You want something that's high-paced, high-energy, that's going to get the crowd invested for the rest of the card. And that's exactly what that match did. And I was so happy to see Johnny Impact return to the Impact Zone. even though it wasn't really the Impact Zone. Impact Zone meaning an Impact ring.
It should be the Impact Zone going forward.
It's a beautiful venue.
The camera angles were awesome. The ring looked awesome. The rampway looked awesome. And the crowd was way more lively than the Orlando crowd. The next match on the show was Tessa Blanchard against Allie.
Undeniable.
Another great match, I felt. Tessa won with the Hammerlock DDT. I feel the right woman won. I think Allie's going to get another big push once Rosemary comes back.
I agree.
Like I said, every match here was just like a must-see match. The third match on the card was a House of Hardcore Rules match between Eddie Edwards and Tommy Dreamer. And there were some really cool spots in this match. There was a point when they were on the outside, and a fan handed Tommy Dreamer the ECW, well, a replica ECW title, and he hit Eddie Edwards with it. We got a hearkening back to Tommy Dreamer's "Yes, Sir, May I Have Another" with the kendo stick, where Eddie was asking him to hit him, and Tommy Dreamer obliged. John?
Yeah, the Eddie Edwards Tommy Dreamer match was, like you said, another good one. As far as like hardcore type matches go, this card had 3 very good ones.
Agreed.
I would be inclined to say that this show should have been called Extreme Rules over the thing that we had to suffer through in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah. Great to see Tommy Dreamer, always. Always been a fan. He looks good. Looks like he's back in tip-top shape. Maybe not tip-top, but he never really was in tip-top shape. But, you know, he's back in fighting shape, I should say.
Yeah. So, during that match, at the end, Eddie Edwards won with a Shining Wizard to the chair where Tommy's head was placed. And afterwards, he grabbed the kendo stick. His wife came out and said, "No, it's enough." Eddie comes to, gives Tommy the kendo stick, apologizes. They hug and everything, and Tommy, as a passing of the torch, gives Edwards the kendo stick and leaves. And Edwards is left in the middle of the ring, gathering himself. The next match, we got the X Division Championship match between the champion, Mr. Third Eye, Matt Sydal, against the Machine, Weapon X, Brian Cage.
Swolverine. This match was a good mix of styles, I think. You have the obvious high-flying ability of Matt Sydal, Reborn Matt Sydal, Third Eye Matt Sydal, whatever he's going by now, and the unmatchable power and strength of the Machine Brian Cage. And these two brutalized each other.
I really liked that it wasn't a squash.
Exactly.
Because when you look at Brian Cage and you look at Matt Sydal, you're like, this is going to be quick. But Matt had a lot of good psychology. He had a lot of good offense. But ultimately, Brian Cage is your new X Division champion. The next match on the card was for the Impact Knockouts Championship, Su Yung against Madison Rayne. This was a pretty rad match.
Absolutely.
With Su Young's bridesmaids around and Madison beating them down. But Madison ultimately gets that dirty rag type mandible claw, and she just passes out. And the stuff that Impact is doing with Su Yung and even Killer Cross and LAX and OVE, the production and the vignettes and stuff is like a cross of the Broken Hardy universe and, dare we say, Lucha Underground.
Right.
And it really makes for an entertaining product. Su Yung, I was thinking that Madison Rayne would have won only to have Tessa beat her, as they have a storyline going. But I'm a Tessa Blanchard mark. But it makes sense for Sue to keep the title until Rosemary's cleared for action.
I tell you what, man, Su Yung had a really cool entrance, too. The Undead Bridesmaids were actually carrying a coffin down to the ring, and they set it down, and Su Yung popped up out of it with the Knockouts title. And then after the match, Su Yung puts Madison Rayne up on her shoulder, takes her over to the coffin, slams her in, and they close it, and they take it away.
Yeah, that's how they've been ending all of her matches like that. And
Yeah.
Allie came back, and I'm sure Madison will come back, but Rosemary hasn't. And that's the only inconsistency that I don't like about that type of ending.
Right.
Because the first ending they used it with, you didn't see Rosemary anymore. And I understand, non-kayfabe wise, she's hurt, but they're saying she's dead. So if Allie's put in the coffin and Madison Rayne's put in the coffin, and we see them again, why is Rosemary dead and they're not?
Well, because because Su Yung set the
spit
coffin
it on fire. Yeah,
set the coffin with Rosemary on fire.
yeah. That slipped my
The
mind.
kayfabe story is that she killed Rosemary and not Allie or Madison Rayne.
Right. You're right. You're right.
Right.
I answered my own question before.
Mm-hmm.
The next match, we had the Impact World Tag Team Championship match between LAX of Santana and Ortiz with Conan against the OGs, the original LAX, Hernandez and Homicide with King, a.k.a. Eddie Kingston, in a 51-50 street fight. Gun to my head, if I had to pick the match of the night, I'd probably pick this one, because the story being built to this match was so enthralling, and the match delivered on all type of, whatever you want to say. I mean, Conan got involved, King got involved, Ortiz and Santana were awesome. Hernandez did some border tosses through tables. We got Homicide doing a front flip through the top and middle rope, like a tope con hilo, but not tope, like mid, whatever Spanish word is for mid.
Yeah, I don't get it.
At one point, Eddie Kingston threw in Drano, and everyone was like, what are they going to do with that? And I'm like, of course they're going to try and pour it down their throats. This is gang warfare here. They don't care. So
We got some thumbtacks.
Yes.
Hardcore classic.
And it was just like,
I think some thumbtacks got thrown into the eyes of Homicide or something like that, right?
something.
Somebody got thumbtacks in their face, is what I know happened.
It was insane and intense. LAX ended up winning. And as they were celebrating, the OGs hit them from behind, took the titles, and wrote 730 on one title and OGs on the other. And they walked away with the titles, even though LAX won. I just really thought this match was awesome, and it was hardcore, but there was a lot of good tag team elements to it.
It was awesome to see, in that it was the perfect mix of old school TNA and new school Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
With Homicide and Hernandez versus Ortiz, and I can never remember the other one's name.
Santana?
Yeah.
The second to last match was...
I guess you could say the same about Stu Young and Madison Rayne.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah.
The second to last match was Pentagon Jr. putting his mask on the line against Sami Callihan, who was putting his hair on the line.
This match was sickening.
This was insane. Insane. There was a point where they had two railroad spikes and they were going at each other, busted each other open. There was a point where Pentagon had the railroad spike and a baseball bat and was pounding it into Sammy's head. Sammy took off his protective vest at one point and told Pentagon to smack him in the chest as hard as he could. He deeply regretted that and put the vest back on later on in the match. OVE tried getting involved and Pentagon hit them with chairs. There was package pile drivers. There was... I'm missing something big here.
Well, I know...
Oh! They were going to use powder, and the powder got into Pentagon's eyes. And Sammy and the ref were on the ground, and Pentagon broke the referee's arm instead of Sammy, which was absolutely hilarious. And God bless that referee, because he's sold like hell.
Oh, yeah.
John, you want to pick it up?
Yeah, last match, the main event for the Impact.
Well, we didn't even tell who won.
Oh, who won the... yeah. So, Pentagon ends up winning the mask versus hair match, and Sami Callihan is now a big old baldy boy. But, honestly, from what we saw on this week's Impact Wrestling, he looks super badass with the shaved head.
And it adds an even more hilarious and sinister dimension to his gimmick.
Hell yeah.
And we'll get into that soon.
Yeah. So, main event, obviously, for the Impact World title was Moose challenging against the champion, Austin Aries.
I thought to myself, I don't know how the hell these guys are going to follow Pentagon and Sammy. But I ate my words. Because Austin Aries, as usual, put on an A-plus performance. He got probably the best match out of Moose's career. Even in defeat, Moose got over.
Yes.
There was a lot of cool spots, a lot of back and forth. Cool spots on the outside. Austin was going to throw Moose, and he told the crowd to move. Moose turned it around, got a gorilla press slam all into the crowd. Aries hit him with a discus elbow to the back of the head. He was set up near the ring post on the outside. He put double knees into him. Aries gets on the ground near the steel steps. Moose follows. He hits a brainbuster on the outside. They go in. He goes for a pin and doesn't get it. He goes to get the title to hit Moose, and the Toronto Blue Jay guy who was there takes it away. And eventually he hits a brainbuster for the win. It was fantastic. There was a point where Moose went for a spear, and Aries scouted it, jumped up real quick, and turned it into a last chancery.
Yes.
And that was sick.
Super cool stuff.
After trying the Death Valley Driver on the apron a couple of times, Aries finally got it. Aries went for a suicide dive, and I remember you were like, wow, because Moose hit him as he was coming.
With a forearm, yeah.
But he also hit the rope, which sent him back even farther, which really added.
Yeah, and what I said was, it's not often that you get a really good, real-looking hit like that.
Yeah. And how odd is it that the World Heavyweight title match ended a pay-per-view.
I was just going to say that. I saw a tweet later that night when the show was on where somebody was like, the world title in the main event. What a concept.
Yeah, what a novel idea. I saw the same thing.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Literally every match was better than the one before it on this card. And that's what you want for a card like this.
I would say that they weren't better than each other. They were just different and all action-packed and good.
Yeah,
where it was like, oh, okay, that's better. Oh, that's better.
Yeah, right.
No, it was just one, like, awesome fucking show, man.
Yeah, I should have said they were all on the same level, and the level was good.
Yeah. I said at the beginning of this, I said it was the best, probably my favorite pay-per-view of the year so far. What do you grade this show?
I mean, it's for sure. It's for sure at least an A show. It's got to be close to an A plus.
I said at least on American on North American soil.
Right.
Because, Dominion was fantastic. So is Wrestle Kingdom. I'd throw Slammiversary in there and the 2 NXT takeovers.
Yeah.
Nothing that WWE has made.
Well, I don't know, man. The Royal Rumble was pretty damn good this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to forget about that because it happens at the beginning.
Right.
But I mean, like...
And obviously Mania's usually at that level, but that's like... It's like there's pay-per-views and then there's WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
WrestleMania is a spectacle more than anything.
Right.
You're lucky to get 1 or 2 good matches out of it. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know.
A lot of the times it's just like...
It's like one of those things where even if the matches aren't amazing, I always enjoy myself watching Mania.
Yeah, because of the spectacle.
Right.
Yeah. So, following Slammiversary, we got an episode on Thursday night.
Yeah, episode starts with Austin Aries walking out there, bringing out his title, cutting a good promo.
I'd say amazing promo.
Yeah, amazing promo. And he's attacked out of nowhere by Eddie Edwards with a kendo stick.
Well, Aries goes to say, you can't call yourself the best in the world if you're in a bubble where before you go out and get on the mic, they hand you a script, or if they're telling you what to do in the ring, which was obvious. He was...
A shot at WWE.
Yeah. Then he said... This is an open invitation to anyone on any channel, on any station, from any promotion. If you think you're the best or you can go with the best, I'm right here. And like you said, out from behind with the kendo stick is Eddie Edwards. So it looks like we're going to see a psychotic Eddie Edwards against heel Austin Aries. And I'm down.
I'm all for it. Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm all for it.
We got a match between Petey Williams and Taiji Ishimori, 2 of the contestants in the competitors in the International 4-Way. It was a good match. And following the match, Taiji and Petey Williams raised each other's hands, and the Desi Hit Squad, led by Gama Singh, came out and beat them down. So it looks like while Impact Wrestling has Taiji Ishimori from New Japan,
it's looking like
they're gonna try and put over the Desi Hit Squad.
Yeah, looks like we're gonna get a short tag team feud here.
Yeah. We got a match between the returning Johnny Impact, John Hennigan. We got a returning John Hennigan against...
I always want to call him Johnny Mundo now.
Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue. Mm-hmm. Against Trevor Lee in a very good match.
Yeah.
Afterwards, John, who won, cut a promo saying he hasn't been here for months because he was laid out by Kongo Kong, and he's been hearing Jimmy and Kongo Kong saying all these things about him, and he's not leaving until this score is settled, which is cool,
Yeah.
We got some backstage stuff from the OGs, and King was saying how it's not 5150 LAX anymore, it's 730 OGs. In the streets, they ain't hearing nothing about Conan or Ortiz and Santana. He's just hearing their names being sang. And the problem with LAX was they thought it was over. He said this war is just getting started. They might have won that battle, but this war is just getting started, which I'm all for because I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
We got a backstage vignette of OVE and Sami Callihan going to the bathroom, and some innocent bystander's next to him, and he's like, "Are you looking at my hair? Are you looking at my hair?" And he's turning, so he's pissing on the guy's leg.
and then he's like, "Jake, take my hat off. Are you looking at my hair?"
And then they get on the ground, and the guy's face down on the ground, and he says, he gets
now
down there.
Now in a puddle of Sami Callihan's piss.
And then Sami gets down, and he says, "Tell me I'm pretty. Tell me I'm pretty." And he's like, "You're pretty, you're pretty." He's like, "Shave this guy's head." So they start shaving his head, which is insane and hilarious. Pentagon spoke, and he put over how much both men suffered and how Sami took him to the limit, but ultimately he holds the disgusting hair of Sami Callihan.
Right.
Then we got the debut of the smoke show Scarlett Bordeaux, who is there to make wrestling sexy again.
Now, is she going to be a competitor, or it seemed like maybe is she supposed to be a new backstage interview taker?
Well, I know she's a wrestler, so I would imagine she's a wrestler, and it seems like
she kind of took the interviewer's job.
Yeah, and she said that she wants to fight for women's rights and not be hot shamed and this and that, and Alicia said, "You mean like Doris Day?" And she was like, "No, like Marilyn Monroe." So like she's going the route of like a 1950s flapper in the sense of she's going against what society thinks a female should be.
20s.
Oh, my bad. But she's going against the grain of society and what women should be, and whatnot. But I think it's an interesting way to go in this atmosphere of society and pro wrestling in general. We'll see how it works out. I'm interested and intrigued by it, and I'm not totally against it. John, I know you had some thoughts.
Well, no, it seemed like something that's just going to take away from wrestling ability and be about looks.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the gimmick that she's going for, where she's like... She kind of reminds me of how Sable was in the Attitude Era.
Yes!
Like, I refuse to cover up. Like, I'm not going to be hot-shamed, as she called it.
I didn't want to cut you off, because I thought that you'd be on the same wavelength.
Right.
Sable is exactly the feeling I got.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else happened?
Well, I don't know.
We got the Killer Cross.
Yeah, Killer Cross promo.
And saying that, like he's here to hurt people.
Oh, and the main event was Matt Sydal invoking his rematch clause for the X Division Championship.
Yeah, but Allie spoke, and she was upset that she didn't get the job done.
Right.
Was there a female match?
I don't think so.
I think Tessa Blanchard beat somebody.
Yeah, oh yeah. Tessa Blanchard did pretty much a squash match on somebody.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who.
But yeah, the main event was Sydal invoking his rematch clause against Cage. And his promo...
To no avail, unfortunately, but...
His promo before the match was really good.
Yes.
Because he's been douchebag spiritual guy, and this promo and the camera angle that they shot it at made him more of a face.
Yeah.
And obviously, throughout the wrestling industry, if you listen to wrestling podcasts or anybody talk, they always say it's easier to be a heel. So to get the personality out of him, they started him off as a heel, and I guess maybe they're transitioning to babyface. This gimmick reminds me a lot of when Brian Kendrick came back to TNA.
Yes.
But you could tell with Seidel, it's authentic. With Kendrick, it was like, this guy knows a little bit of what he's talking about, but with Seidel, it's like, this dude lives this.
I'm also getting a lot of vibes similar to, like, the Guru Sanjay Dutt when he was in there. The whole, like yoga and namaste and open your third eye and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, to no avail. Brian Cage won.
Because he's Brian Cage.
Because he's Brian Cage. I'd say this follow-up episode to Slammiversary was a good episode. I think every episode since Callis and D'Amore and everybody took over has been a good episode. So it built forth new storylines.
Yes.
And closed the chapter on some others and told where other storylines that are still ongoing are going.
Yeah, definitely really good stuff from Impact this week.
Yeah.
And I would say I hope it'll keep going, but I don't think we have a chance of it not keeping going.
Right. Now, speaking of Impact, I was going to put this in the news section, but I figured I'd wait until the end of our Impact discussion. This week, Chris Jericho has said that he'll never wrestle for a company other than WWE in the United States. There are signs Jericho has reconsidered his position on this topic. Jericho held a Q&A on Twitter this week and was asked if he'd consider going to Impact Wrestling, which is currently being co-run by his longtime friend Don Callis. We are one at Hiveling_JD said, at I am Jericho, Chris, I know you're busy with Japan and your music career, but would you ever consider going to at Impact Wrestling? Which he responded to, of course, ! A few days later, Jericho responded to a fan on Twitter regarding his stance of not wrestling for a non-WWE company in the United States. This came from Vincent23421. I am Jericho has been adamant about not wrestling on American soil in an independent capacity. Could that mean at StarCast 18 appearance could be possible? Jericho said, people change their minds, ... I would love to see Jericho go to Impact.
Yeah.
Just because he has the name and the star power and the ability still to be able to put guys over, have good storyline, have good psychology, have good matches.
Yes.
I mean, there's guys there that could benefit from a Chris Jericho feud. Aries doesn't need it, but it would be awesome. Eddie Edwards, Moose, obviously, who in ring is great, but his microphone skills, they need to figure that out.
He actually didn't do too bad on Slammiversary, but in general, yeah.
Yeah. And Pentagon and Sami Callihan.
Yes.
That stuff would be great because he has a past with luchadors and being a cruiserweight and stuff like that with Pentagon. And
he's been known to go hardcore when he needs to, which he
that
can do against Sami.
With that Tetsuya Naito match and that Kenny Omega match.
And even that Dean Ambrose match from like a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was great.
He even used thumbtacks in that match.
He did. So yeah, I think Jericho should do it.
I feel like Jericho could do for Impact what he did for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I'm not saying that New Japan Pro Wrestling needed it, but to get them to the popularity level that they are now in the States, Jericho was helpful.
Yeah. And he's not like, back in the day in TNA, it was like anytime a wrestler of any type of size, stature, where they were on the card, if they got released from WWE, Dixie signed them right away.
Yes.
And you could tell that Impact isn't doing that right now.
Right.
As Enzo Amore, Big Cass, other people, JTG, are not there.
Yeah.
So they're being picky and choosy with who they have. And Jericho's the type of guy that, he's considered probably one of the most versatile, maybe one of the greatest of all time, at least of this generation.
Right.
And if he went there, no one would be like, oh, Impact got another WWE guy, because he's already been in New Japan. He's a Renaissance man. He does what he wants.
I mean, shit, like, I could even see him doing great things on Impact's creative team.
Too.
If he didn't want to appear on screen.
Yeah. Or be a manager.
Yeah.
Like how he helped with Owens.
Right.
So, getting off of Impact.
Yeah, we're going to now go into NXT. But before we do, I want to touch very quickly and give a very quick version of the weekly G1 report. Okay? I just want to go over the current standings as it is right now. So since our last episode, we've had 2 nights of A block action and 2 nights of B block action. The A block standings are currently tied for first place, Tanahashi and Evil at 8 points. Tied for second place, all at 6 points, are Switchblade Jay White, the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, and Minoru Suzuki. Tied for third place, all with 4 points, are Big Mike, Unbreakable Michael Elgin, Bad Luck Fale, and Togi Makabe. And in last place, tied at 2 points apiece, are Hangman Adam Page and Yoshihashi. In the B block, standing alone at the number 1 spot is the Best Bout Machine, the Cleaner, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Kenny Omega at 8 points. Tied for second place are LIJ brothers Tetsuya Naito and Sonata,
who have not faced each other yet.
Tied for third place with 4 points apiece, the Golden Star Kota Ibushi, the Stone Pitbull Tomohiro Ishii, Zack Sabre Jr., protege of Minoru Suzuki, and the never openweight champion Hiroki Goto, who had an amazing match with Tomohiro Ishii, possibly one of my favorite matches this year so far.
Meltzer, so far, has given 3 5-star matches in this G1.
Yeah.
It was Goto and Ishii, Goto and Omega, and Omega and Naito.
Right. Now, tied at 4th place are Tama Tonga, head of the firing squad, and Toru Yano, who unfortunately resorted to his dastardly ways in his most recent bout. And very unfortunately, something that, and I mean unfortunate, this legitimately makes me sad. Last place, 0 points. IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, Juice Robinson.
That being said, Juice Robinson has had great matches against Kenny Omega and Ibushi and Tama Tonga.
Yeah. All his matches have been great.
This week's standout match to me was Sonata and Ibushi.
Yes.
Just because, they have a similar look, a similar style, and I love Ibushi, but I was rooting for Sonata because...
Yeah, because, we know how good Ibushi is. We already know that. It's awesome to see people... It's awesome to see them using the G1 to get mid-carders over.
Yeah.
If that's
taking
the correct
someone
way
to the next step.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, another thing is, a lot of people online are who take the G1 very seriously, as it is the most prestigious tournament in wrestling, have been upset about Tama Tonga, Bad Luck Fale, Tonga Loa, those guys, and how they've been treating the G1 as just like they don't care about wins and losses. They're there to create chaos and controversy. And what I have to say to them is go pound salt, because I think that the OGBC storyline is probably my favorite storyline right now in New Japan, and I don't care if Tama Tonga and Bad Luck Fale give up all their points as long as they remain entertaining to me.
Yeah. It's like it's a competitive tournament, but you still have heels and faces.
To quote Tama Tonga, what the fuck is a G1? And who the fuck is you?
I love me some Tama Tonga.
That was my first impersonation. I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
He got that high pitch going
Yeah.
on. So NXT. Pretty big stuff this week. We started off with Adam Cole defeating Sean Maluta.
We got to get through this because it sounds like it's about to start raining.
Yeah. Sean Maluta. Ricochet comes out and says that if you're not a coward, wrestle me at TakeOver for the North American Championship. Cole says no. The Undisputed Era comes out. Looks like they're going to jump Ricochet, to which the War Raiders come out. And then Mustache Mountain comes out. So we're seeing the possibility of Ricochet versus Adam Cole at TakeOver, and possibly a triple threat for the NXT titles.
Yeah, dude.
At NXT TakeOver.
I'm so freaking ready for both of those. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 is already shaping up to be one of the better TakeOver cards, period.
Yeah, we get, Yeah. So, we got William Regal sitting down in between Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane to sign the contract for their NXT Brooklyn match. And Shayna put on a great promo, and Kairi kept saying, "You know it, I know it, everyone knows it, I can beat you." And she just kept saying that, which is okay, because if she has really broken English, let her do that. Her thing is in-ring performance and being adorable.
I'll tell you what was awesome about it, though. It's like she was using that repetition to get under Shayna's skin.
Yeah. The playing a psychological game against a psychological person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get Lacey Evans defeating
the future of the women's division,
defeating a woman named Tanilla Price, following her woman's right punch. We see Bianca Belair interviewed about being injured and missing the number one contender match. Belair says she doesn't have to explain herself to anyone because she's undefeated, and when she's healthy, she'll be back to get what's hers because she's undefeated. Shayna was backstage and was saying all this stuff about Kairi Sane. Candice LeRae comes up and, basically dared her to hit her and all that, because during the promo, she said something about Candice LeRae should just go home and be a homemaker. And that really lit a fire under LeRae.
Candice LeRae was saying, you can say all this in an interview, but you can't say it to my face and all that stuff.
Yeah. And then we got the main event.
Oh my God.
The most hated man in professional wrestling. The greatest heel in years. Tommaso Ciampa looking like Tywin Lannister against...
That jacket is so badass.
Yeah, against Aleister Black. And this match was so good. I understand why it was at Full Sail because, NXT spoilers are out there. I know what's coming up at Brooklyn. But this match was so damn good. Tommaso plays so many good games psychologically, in people's minds, and in the ring.
I'll tell you what was awesome, man. When Aleister does his entrance, he does that sitting Indian style in the middle of the ring thing.
Yeah. And
when he did that, Tommaso was in his face while he was sitting there.
Right. And then Tommaso did it. Tommaso did it. And then when Aleister had the upper hand, he did it and did the wave goodbye thing like Tommaso does. It was just really awesome. This match ended when Johnny Gargano comes down and super kicks Tommaso, grabs the title, is going to hit Tommaso.
You kind of got to give the lead up to that because it's like the title came out of nowhere, the way you're saying it. The ref gets taken out.
Yeah.
Tommaso sees this as an opportunity, grabs the title, is about to hit Aleister with it. Crowd starts going nuts, so oh man, where's Johnny? Crowd's going nuts. Johnny's out there. And he, like you said, super kicks Ciampa, tries to rip the title off of him. When he finally does, he accidentally, with his momentum, clocks Aleister in the head with the title.
Yes.
Tommaso hits him with the lung blower / Project Ciampa, but they're not calling it that, but they should, because it's an awesome name for a finishing move. And the referee finally comes to and counts the fateful 3 counts.
Yes. And Tommaso kept making Drake Younger hold up his hand, or Drake Wirtz as he's called now, to hold up his hand. He had him put the title on him. I mean, Tommaso is killing it as a heel. Aleister is my champion. But if this means a call-up, then I'm happy. You know what I mean? I love Aleister. I love Johnny. I love Tommaso. So, it's all good to me. And Tommaso is just the best heel.
We better get that triple threat at Takeover.
I
want it so much.
Right now, I'm going to preface the big question.
Yes.
Dave Meltzer was asked... he talked about Chad Gable and suggested that it might be time to leave due to what Cody Rhodes did. Rhodes was underutilized but has quickly become one of the hottest names on the independent scene. Quote, "Of all the guys in that company," meaning WWE, "I would never recommend anyone necessarily leaving. But I would strongly recommend him," being Chad Gable, "leaving. It's not even funny. He needs to get out of there. He is so talented. If he left, he would do great, and he is an ex-Olympian. He would do freaking great. Then WWE would probably want him back, and they would respect him a lot more."
Yeah.
Meltzer mentioned how Gable and Jay White both broke in the business around the same time.
Yeah.
And White is a good wrestler, and he has started to really come into his own with his persona. White continues to make a name for himself in New Japan, while Gable has faded on WWE's main roster. The sad part is that Gable is arguably a better wrestler than White, and he can show his personality if creative allows him. "I don't see Chad Gable," Meltzer said. "I don't even know where he is anymore. I know he's on the roster, and I know he's working house shows, but it's like he's non-existent."
It's really sad. He's been reduced to the guy that they used to set up backstage promos with their bigger stars.
Yeah, I mean, he's on main event now, so...
Yeah. Recently on Raw, he was just a tool to set up the Baron Corbin and Finn Balor backstage segment.
Yeah, and then before that, they just fed him to Drew and Dolph.
Yeah.
So the big question this week is, what wrestler or wrestlers would you like to see leave WWE And where would you put them, and why?
One that immediately comes to mind is Cesaro.
Interesting.
Going to, I'd say either going to Impact or New Japan.
Now, see, I understand New Japan because he could have great matches.
Yeah.
But WWE already knows that he could put on great matches.
So
going to Impact. So going to Impact, I think, especially right now with their creative, would help him bring out more personality and get better on the microphone, to where WWE would want him back and put him in a main event type of role.
Yes.
Because that's what we all want for Cesaro.
Because, honestly, the bar on Raw was awesome.
Yeah.
But now the bar on SmackDown is non-existent.
Well, they just came back this past week.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Somebody must have been hurt.
Yeah, I didn't see SmackDown, admittedly, so I didn't know that. Rookie mistake on my part. My bad. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anybody else. I know there's a lot of people saying that it's time for Finn to move on, maybe go back to New Japan. I don't necessarily agree with that. Trying to think here. Do you have any? So I can have some time to think.
The first one that comes to my mind immediately is Apollo Crews.
That makes sense.
I feel like he honed his wrestling ability in Dragon Gate in Japan. And Japan, of course, is known for their great in-ring acumen. He came to NXT. He was doing okay, and they brought him up way too early. He was just the smiley guy. He didn't really have a personality. And he still, to this day, doesn't have too much personality. Now, when I say smiley guy, there was another guy like that named Rocky Maivia. And what happened? He turned heel. He found himself. That's great. Doesn't look like WWE is planning that for undersized Apollo Crews, who's too heavy for the 205 Live division. So, talking about personality here, I would put him in Impact Wrestling. Other guys I think of, Rusev and Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler seems to be like he has already accomplished, he's already hit his peak in WWE. We all know how great he is in wrestling. We've seen him on the mic. Put him in Lucha Underground. Put him in New Japan.
Let me say something.
Let him have PWG matches. He could be a John Morrison.
Okay. Now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have agreed with you. The current run he's having with Rollins, though, I think is going to be good for him. Maybe afterwards, after the feud with Rollins, I could see him leaving.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah.
I wouldn't end it right now, but I mean, like, he's never going to get that world title again.
No, because they don't seem interested.
I also said Rusev. He's starting to hit his peak, which is cool, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to see him in New Japan.
Well, I feel like he hit his peak already, and he's starting to come down because it could be said that, judging by backstage segments on SmackDown, they might be planning on putting an end to Rusev Day.
Right.
And that sucks. They can't take Aiden English away from him. They can't.
Well, I think they're going to try and make him full heel.
Possibly.
To try and make people really give him, instead of being a tweener, give him an actual, like, base to where he could be a threat to the title.
Yeah. Another one that I might say would be the Ascension.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Get out of there. They are the poster children for what WWE fans say about Vince bringing up the NXT guys and ruining them.
Correct.
They are, to me, they are patient zero in that phenomenon. of Vince bringing up the NXT people and ruining them. However, you could possibly say that Brodus Clay was that patient zero.
Yeah, and look what happened to him.
Because the vignettes for him showed a gigantic monster that was destroying people, and when he actually showed up after those vignettes had already aired, he was a dancing dinosaur.
Well, he was the bodyguard for Del Rio first.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if they were going to make him dance, why'd they use those vignettes at all?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, damn. Anybody else, you think? None are really coming to mind right now.
I mean, I agree with Meltzer about Gable.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
But yeah, nobody really. Like, I would love to see Ziggler in Lucha Underground. I think he'd be great. I also think he could have great PWG matches here and there. He would benefit from going to New Japan, and they would benefit from it.
I'll tell you what, man. Get rid of Ziggler and put Drew in that main title scene.
Oh, they have to.
Do it.
They have to put Drew in main titles.
Yes.
Anyway, so, with that being said, if you have any ideas or for wrestlers in the WWE that you would like to see elsewhere, in the video comments, comment on who, where, why.
Yeah.
Or hit us up on Instagram and such.
Yep. Leave them there. Hit us up on Instagram. All the social medias. Twitter, Facebook. We're on all of them.
Next week, we're coming at you with MLW Battle Riot and Beyond Wrestling's American Rana 2018. For all of you out there, whether it is morning, noon, or night, you have a great one, and peace and love to all of you.